for the first time in the United States.
I don't have answer for that.
Right?
So, but yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us today here at Channel 17. And today we have great, wonderful guests. One of them, no one can introduce him anymore. His name is Mohamed Jafar, and the other one is an incredible community-minded, oriented person. His name is Pradhan. And as you probably know, today is the remembrance of the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Day. But we are here to talk about two main items. One of them is a non-citizen voting ballot item that will come through the voters of Burlington. And also we have a great, wonderful event called New American Voting Event coming up. So without further ado, we will let our guests to introduce themselves. So can we start with you, sir?
Yeah. Hello. Thank you again for having me. My name is Mohamed Jafar. I am currently working for the Burlington Community Justice Center as a Tamarack and Pretrial Services Coordinator. I'm involved in the community, and I am a longtime Burlington resident, originally from Kenya.
And thank you, Ali, for having me here. My name is Pradhan. I am one of the, the people, the citizen here just recently, and I work as a liaison in the district, Burlington School District.
Burlington School District Multilingual Liaison.
Right,
And also we have a community organizer, and you work for the Peace and Justice Center?
Burlington Justice.
Burlington Justice Center, yeah. That's great and wonderful. Thank you both for joining us here today. So as we talked about earlier, today is the legacy of, the remembrance of the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Day, a civil rights movement who had fought increasingly and all the time for equality, for justice, for equal pay, and for just the well-being of everyone living in the United States of America and beyond. He fought against wars. He fought for the pay, for people to organize. He left us at a very young age. And it seems today if he lived, he would have been 92 or 93 years old. So to my guest, what do you think, what does this day mean for you, and what do you think is happening in Burlington around this day?
To me, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a legacy. Individuals like him throughout history create doors for people who are faced with nothing but walls. And to me, thinking about where I am today and what I'm capable of doing and where I'm seated in this very moment, I'm humbled and always reminded that there are people who have sacrificed a lot to create the space that I'm able to now inhabit and kind of accept and take in. Mm-hmm. So to me, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a door opener.
Yes, it's a door opener, a hero, someone who inspired all of us as immigrants and refugees. And Mr. Lal, what would you want to add to that?
So yeah, he's a legendary person, who always fought for the rights of the people, and he always, showed his bravery and then protected the rights of the people, who always fought for the rights of the people.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it seems there are so many great, wonderful people who are trying to follow his footsteps for justice, for equality, for equity. And one of them is my guest, and one of them is Mohamed Jafar, who has been working tirelessly for equity in this community. As you probably know, he has a great, wonderful event coming up that will be helping new Americans to really get involved deeply in a very, very deep sense. So, Mohamed, can you tell us what is this New American Voting event coming up?
So, the New American Voting event is it's a leg of a three-piece project that myself and a small group of community leaders have been working on for over a year. This project first originated back during the November elections last year of 2018, A few Somali women who recognized me came up to me. I serve on the board for the registration of voters, and they were excited to vote, but they felt like they didn't really know how, and they didn't have enough information to kind of navigate the polling station. That was both frustrating and exciting at the same time, because I was really excited that they were there, and they were excited by the opportunity to vote, and they wanted to be involved. But at the same time, it was a little bit frustrating that they didn't have enough resources to actually find their way to our democracy. And so and hearing other people kind of make the same concern, I reached out to the Secretary of State's office. I drove out to Montpelier, met with them several times, and we kind of I brought a team together, and we came up with this project, this three-piece project that consists of videos that have been translated, or not translated, videos that have been acted out of people voting, the voting process, and then we have voiceovers of them in 6 languages, as it was shown. We had originally asked for 5 languages. We got 6 languages, which is excellent. Along with those videos, we've got both municipal and state ballots translated for both Burlington and Winooski as well, where the municipal ballots are translated as well. And then the third piece is this event, which is going to be providing this new resource and this information to folks. And we have childcare, we have food from Kismayo Kitchen and Nepali Kitchen. We've got speakers, tremendous volunteers and community members who are hoping to gather together and kind of bring people to the table. Voting is a sacred thing, but there are some people, some of us come from communities and places around the world where voting is something that could really cost us a lot more than other people would think.
Absolutely.
So, it's important to give people the opportunity to be a part of their own lives and to make decisions and vote on who represents them.
Absolutely. And I think, okay, Mohamed, maybe we can go back a little bit. How old were you when you first came here in the United States?
So I was 7 years old when I first came here.
So you are a product of the Burlington School District.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
you graduated high school and you went over for college.
Yep, I went to New Hampshire for college.
You came back.
And returned, yep.
So when you returned, you noticed that there was an issue. And the issue was the new Americans were really left out in participating meaningfully in our democracy.
Absolutely.
So the concern came to you, and then it seems you went to the Secretary of State's office. You met with them several times, and to come up with this great, wonderful idea.
Absolutely.
And so if you can tell us, so there are 6 languages where the ballot items in both Winooski and Burlington will be translated on town meeting day. That's great. And also you're saying there is a video demonstration on how people can vote. And there is an event where you will show that video that you worked very hard with those community-minded folks. And also, would there be registration processes?
Oh, yes. So during the event, there will be stations for people to register. People will get information on how to vote. So there will be mock voting. You can pretend to vote. We will have all the videos playing in a loop around around the space. All the actors were new Americans and community members, and we got all kinds of people in the videos, and so it's an inclusive project, and it's a project really meant to make people excited about this right and privilege that we have.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And also, I think we talking about citizens, new Americans who are legal citizens of the United States. They can show up to that event, and now they can show up to the voting booths and vote meaningfully, with really a lot of confidence about who they're voting for and what they're voting about.
Yes. And the best part is, even if you're not a United States citizen, if you're going to be a United States citizen and you're thinking about wanting to vote, now is a good time to get that education so that when you are a citizen, you're able to jump right in it and be a part of the process. Absolutely. So that's the best part about it, is now is a good time to learn, and people now have the ability to get that education at this event.
This is so great, so wonderful. Thank you so much for your leadership, boss. Thank you. So, Lal, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, just recently in November, this past November, I got the citizenship. I'm very super excited, and in my entire life, I haven't voted, I haven't participated in voting. So it's super exciting event that I will be participating in, where I will be just practically going through voting, doing the votings. So that gives me idea of how to vote, and that would be my the first experience how to vote in our democracy here.
It is so great, so wonderful. I mean, I think you can give Mohamed a high five and say thank you man, for helping
Thank you
us.
for organizing this
Yeah.
event. It's very important for the new Americans especially, because many of the people, they have never voted. Even my parents, can just I can just imagine that how exciting would they be
Mhm.
to learn how to vote, because they have never voted in their life. I don't remember back in our country voting, and in the refugee camp, there
Mhm.
was no such voting in
Absolutely.
the democratic system or whatever was there. And coming to this country, and struggling to get the citizenship, and then that's the basic right of the citizens to vote, and people would be super excited
Super
to
excited.
vote.
This is so great, and also it has some. I almost wanna. I almost have tears that you'll be voting for the first
Yeah.
time with your parents.
Right, exactly.
Oh my! This is great. And also before you vote, Mohamed, can you tell us when is the events? It seems we're not talking about one, but there are a couple.
Yes, so there are two events. One event is on Saturday, January 25th, so this Saturday coming up from 2 to 4 o'clock. Again, we will have food, we will have speakers, we will have childcare. Come enjoy. We'll have interpretation as well. And then the second event is in Winooski, also same thing. We will have Kismayo kitchen, Nepali kitchen, childcare and interpretation. Excellent food, excellent childcare, excellent interpretation services.
That's so
and that'll be at the O'Brien Center, 32 Mallets Bay Avenue, Winooski. That'll be Saturday, February 8th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So join us. The speakers will include Secretary of State Jim Condos, Hal Colston, Amila Mirzanovich, Ali Dieng, and Mohamed Jafar. And speakers will flip-flop between the two events, but you will hear from each person at one or the other.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it seems everyone know who is the Secretary of State. But who's Hal and Amila Mirdarovich? What are they? What are their role in the community?
So Hal is a community leader as well, and I believe a state representative. Yeah. And then Amila is the director, actually, of United States Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, formerly known as the Refugee Resettlement Program. And so she's, of course, involved in the immigration process that is kind of a mess right now. And that. So, and then Mr. Ali Dieng is, of course, our city councilor from Burlington. Ward 8,
Seven.
7.
Yes, yes, yes.
I missed it.
Yes.
Ward 7, and then Mr. Mohamed Jafar, that's me, just community organizer.
Absolutely. And maybe you don't have it on top of your mind, but roughly, how many meetings from the time you went to see the Secretary of State to this event? How many meetings do you think you have done with people to sell this idea?
To facilitate this,
Yes.
to be honest, the amount of meetings and the amount of like attempted meetings and missed meetings and the amount of different people that jumped on board for the project and then dropped out, and the amount of people that came on and then stayed and then were gone again, I don't even think I can come up with a number for you.
But it took
I
you-
almost felt like a consultant at some point. I was thinking I should try to do this for a living.
Yeah, and it took you then more than a year. When this idea come to you precisely?
I think around maybe I started meeting with the secretary's office in January of last year. So around about a year, I would say.
About a year.
I think November was kind of when everything happened, and then there was some outcry, and
Absolutely.
here and there would be a month where there would be a hum because things would be busy, whether there's the legislation session or the legislature is in session, or I'm busy, but otherwise.
Wonderful. Great. This is amazing. As you all heard, it will be Saturday, the 25th at 2 p.m. in Burlington, AALV, also known as 20 Allen Street, one community center. And the second one is in Winooski, O'Brien Community Center, Mallets Bay Avenue, and it will be Saturday, February 8th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I like how you guys did it. One is in the afternoon and the other one is at the end of the day in the morning. This is great. This is incredible. But Mohamed, how was it like? Did you get some buy-in or some pushback from the Secretary of Office? Can you tell us a little bit about the experience when you brought the idea to them?
So when the issue kind of originally was raised, the Secretary of State's office did say, you know, we were not expecting this, and we just were not ready for it. So I kind of asked that they respond, and I think they responded. At first, there was a little bit of pushback, but as the project kind of unfolded and ideas came together, there was a buy-in, and ultimately, I'm very thankful for the Secretary's office because they have funded this project from the beginning all the way to the end. And there's been a lot of moving pieces, and there's been a lot involved in it, but I'm very thankful for that. There was a push at first, a little bit. Financially, of course, the project did cost a lot, but finally there was a buy-in, and in the end, you know, the project expanded beyond what I actually had expected originally. So it was great. Yeah.
So it's a matter of fact that Friday I was actually invited to a meeting with some community organizers, people who know here, to talk about the outreach piece. So maybe Lal, that's where you play a huge role.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to the parents. You know, I already started. I had this poster in different stores that are owned by the community members, and I have talked to some of the people, and I had invited them on those dates, and hopefully we'll have great turnout.
Yeah, and especially where there are ethnic foods from both Somali and also from Nepal. And those are the two biggest communities here in Vermont. But Mohamed, you did talk about 6 languages, that are where the ballot items will be existing in 6 different languages. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what are those languages on top of your head.
So the languages are Arabic, Nepali, Burmese, Swahili, French. And what is the 6th?
Kirundi,
no.
Karen?
Nope.
French, yeah.
Did I say Arabic and French? I think so. The 6th one always escapes me, and unfortunately, this is the old one.
This is the old version. Okay.
Oh, Somali.
Somali. my
language.
Somali.
Yeah,
yes.
Somali.
Okay.
That's the one I'm forgetting.
This is.
Those are the languages, and the way we came up with the languages was actually we used USCRI and AALV, which are 2 local organizations, obviously, that deal with a lot of new Americans and migrants and folks who migrate over here. So these are the languages that they identified as the top 6 in terms of the United States citizens population of new Americans. Hopefully we'll be able to expand on this project, and there will be a New American event point 2. But this is the first, and it's a pilot. Anything right now, we have nothing, so anything is better than what we've got right now. So I'm very excited, and hopefully we'll be able to expand that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Lal, now that you will be voting for the first time with your father, do you think that this is now the driving force behind getting the new American involved?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned, there are a lot of the community members who recently got the citizens or in the process of getting the citizens in the near future, and this kind of the event definitely will teach them how to, vote and then exercise their rights. So this is going to be an wonderful event.
Absolutely. So now there is no reason to say, oh, I don't understand the ballot, because now it will be translated, right? There is also no reason I don't have access to an interpreter. So there will be some type of level of education when you get there, right? And now I think there is also, if we change gear, we currently talking about in Burlington about one ballot item that is called the non-citizen voting ballot item. So that means that people who legally live here, green card holders or people who are permanent residents, yep, can now participate in the local democracy. So by giving them the opportunity to vote for local elections such as school board, such as city council, I believe mayor, and also for the school district budget as well as the city's budget. So it has been a lot of controversy around the nation about this idea. And I am a city councilor, and I think I'm gonna hold it for now. But was just wondering what you guys think of that idea. Is it better for people to get their citizenship and become citizens so they can vote in all ballot items? Or do you think this is a good start? Or do you have any concern about this provision in front of us?
So, I think it's a good start for the people living who has or who are been here residing in the city legally. They should have some way to, vote for their representatives or, to the person that they think they can represent them wherever they go. So I think it's a good start. To me personally, I feel like, it's should be, carried out forward, and so that it's not only the citizen who has the voting rights. The people who are legally here, they should have some rights to vote for their representatives.
Okay, that's great. And Mohamed, what do you think?
I agree and disagree with Lal. So I think it is a good route and a good opportunity for people, because I do think that if you live here for a substantial amount of time, you should kind of have a say in what is happening and what the taxes look like, what kind of structures are coming to City Hall. Like, you should be involved in that. The concern I have is that that creates loopholes for people to be put in positions where they can get in trouble legally. If you accidentally vote for, vote in a presidential election, that can get you in a lot of trouble. And I feel like, especially with the current administration, before, when Obama was president, I think I don't think I would have thought about this. I would have thought twice about this. Yeah. But currently, realizing the current administration and the way things are seen, and the climate and the political climate, I feel like it is dangerous. It's the right idea. I think that there should be stipulations or policies in place that make it so that there's just absolutely no doors, loopholes for people to find themselves getting deported by ICE. That should not be happening.
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
You basically think it's a good idea, but you have some concern about it. Like right now, if it was maybe Obama's President Barack Obama's tenure as executive of the nation, then you would have been saying this is ICE, this is okay. Yeah. But now knowing that ICE is getting stronger and stronger and have their foot almost everywhere with our driving licenses and everything, it's not a good idea to hold information of non-citizens that live in our community. Yeah. So, I think, Lal, maybe you can come back to, how was the process like for you to become citizen? How long was it?
I was here in the country legally, so as soon as I came here, we were granted the employment authorization. So after 1 year, we can apply for the permanent resident or the green card. Then there is the time limitation. Once it gets 5 years, then I can apply for the citizenship. So that's kind of just waiting for the time, but everything is like, it was legal, so it was not kind of, very hard for me to go through the process. Okay. Just wait for the time and then just apply and then get it.
Wonderful. And do you think a lot of people in your community, Nepali community, are becoming citizens?
Yes, they are becoming citizens. Because, as I mentioned, some of the people, because of the language barrier, they are having some problem, going through the citizenship test
process. Yep.
They have always fear of the test. So that's the only problem that the people from my community are having. But rest of the things are just waiting for the time. Once it gets 5 years, then everyone can apply for it, and then.
And yes, you wanted to add
sorry,
something?
Ali, just to piggyback off that, I kind of discussed this with my mom, and she said that what the city and state can do is exhaust some of those resources towards educating people ahead of time. When you talk about people struggling with the citizenship test, my mom was talking about how she used to have a disc that she would play in the car when she was going to the grocery store, dropping us off, going to work, whatever it may be. She would be playing it, and it would ask, who is the first president of the United States, and she would answer along. What's the capital of the United States? Washington D.C. She's answering along, and so maybe education and giving people information should be the focus ahead of time, and then once they are citizens, they're able to jump right in it. They know how to do what to do.
Yep. And I think, personally, one of the other concern is just the volunteers that are at the booths helping people to register to vote. And it seems with the non-citizen voting items, we're putting another extra layer onto their job responsibility, things like that. And I think one other point is just, it seems like apartheid. Yeah. The people who are citizens, here you are. The people who are not citizens, here you are. I mean, you are really dividing the community. Yeah. And I think personally, going to the booth, it belongs to people who went through the process, who've been vetted, ins and out, who've been here legally for years and, paying taxes and everything, and they become citizens of the greatest country of earth. And when you get into the booth, you can vote from national election to the local, to your next representative, or to the school budget. That really affects you directly. Yeah. But I think we, like Mohamed, what you have done is what the focus is supposed to be. Yeah. Those who are currently citizens, how do we make sure that they show up and participate in the democracy? Ballot items translated, done. A demo of the video, done. And I think, immigration also, as an immigrant, I think there was a reward. If you become citizen, it's not just because you're having a passport, but it is also you can vote, you are part of this country. And I feel with the non-citizen voting, you're taking that reward away from the people who really, were looking forward to that. So do you have any sentiments around it? It seems we have like maybe 2 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I came to this country in 2012. So since then, I have been hearing people talking about the vote for the local representatives to the national level, for the presidential candidate. So I was kind of, not having that rights, and I felt so bad that I couldn't participate because I am not a citizen. So, that struck me time and again, and then, all the time I was thinking about getting the citizenship, so I had to wait for the time, and then finally, the time is over, and now I can
vote.
I can exercise my right.
And you can vote for everything, for all of it, from president to school board.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. So this is actually great and wonderful. Maybe before we give Mohamed to close, can you tell your people in your own language about this in Nepal, about the event?
Sure, yeah. म नेपालीमा भन्दैछु, यदि तपाईहरु बर्लिङटन अथवा विनिस्कीमा बस्नुहुन्छ भने बर्लिङटनमा 20 एलन स्ट्रिट जहाँ चाहिँ AALB भनिन्छ, त्यसमा चाहिँ जनवरी 25 तारिक यो आउँदो शनिबार 2 बजेदेखि 4 बजेसम्म चाहिँ तपाईहरुले भोट कसरी गर्ने भन्नेमा प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा चाहिँ तपाईहरुले सहभागिता हुन सक्नुहुनेछ। त्यसरी नै विनिस्कीमा हुँदैछ फेब्रुअरी 8 तारिक 11 बजेदेखि 1 बजेसम्म, र त्यसमा तपाईहरु प्रत्यक्ष रूपमा आएर चाहिँ भाग लिन सक्नुहुन्छ र कसरी भोट गर्ने भन्ने कुराहरु सिक्न सक्नुहुन्छ। त्यसमा चाहिँ तपाईहरुलाई तपाईहरुको बालबच्चा हेर्ने व्यवस्था साथै तपाईहरुलाई स्वादिष्ट खानाहरु पनि व्यवस्था मिलाइएको छ।
Wonderful. So we don't have any more minutes. Maybe Mohamed, you can close and
Thank you.
Yes. All right. So guys, thank you very much for watching Ali's Corner here at Channel 17, and next month we will see you again with another great wonderful show. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Yeah. Thank you.